Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, be watching the worst era of Nickelodeon. Let's get into it.
All ages for decades. Since releasing the first three Nicktoons in the early 90s, Nickelodeon has become known as a predominantly cartoon channel. The 90s are revered as the golden age of cartoons, then the 2000s being a noteworthy successor that definitely started to falter as time went on. The next era, being the 2010s, is arguably the worst era, and I am here to tell you why. But first, a little bit of backstory. In the early 90s, they introduced Doug, Rugrats, and the Ren and Stimpy show. These three would become the first Nicktoons. They proved to be very popular, thus Nickelodeon choosing a cartoon-oriented path. Rocko's Modern Life, Cat Dog, Angry Beavers, Our Real Monsters, Hey Arnold, and the Wild Thornberrys were soon to follow. All of these cartoons were very successful and still remain icons today. They were original and wacky, and had humor that hadn't been seen in cartoons before. These cartoons made up the 90s, and is now known as the Golden Era. The next era was the SpongeBob era. SpongeBob was and still is their cash cow. So, a lot of their focus went to SpongeBob. The entirety of the 2000s was plastered with the yellow square. Even with SpongeBob's success, there were a handful of cartoons that came out around this time that were still very good. The Fairly OddParents, Jimmy Neutron, Danny Phantom, Invader Zim, My Life as a Teenage Robot, Avatar, and Chalk Zone. The first half of the 2000s was basically a sequel to the 90s. Original cartoons, unique concepts and adventures, and very enjoyable to watch. The second half of the 2000s is where the decline began, but had not fully hit rock bottom. The shows they were making didn't necessarily drop in quality, but a lack in promotion and opportunity led them to fail. These shows were for the most part overshadowed by their more successful cousins like SpongeBob and Fairly OddParents. These shows were Tak and the Power of Juju, El Tigre, The Mighty Bee, Cat Scratch, The X's, and Back at the Barnyard. Nickelodeon didn't really seem to give these shows a chance, and really only promoted the big shows that they knew would perform well. In the last year of the 2000s...
Ah, shit. This is one of my childhood shows right here. One of my childhood shows.
A show would be released that I think truly begins the descent into the worst era. Fanboy and Chum Chum. I know this dead horse...
This was the back then, the 2000 brain rot, bro. No funny shit. This was OG brain rot. This was my brain rot, bro. No funny shit. Fanboy Chum Chum was OG brain rot. I'm not gonna lie.
Horse has been beaten so much it's just pulp now. It's trendy to hate on this show, and that's not what I'm here to do. I'm simply bringing up the point that this show relied heavily on poop humor. I'm not criticizing it, but it does set in motion a domino effect of terrible humor. I am now going to give an overview of all the Nicktoons during this decade. 17 different Nicktoons premiered in this decade, compared to 11 in the 90s and 17 in the 2000s. For the sake of the argument, I'm going to only go over actual Nicktoons, not every single animated show that aired this decade. So, for shows like Rabbids and...
This is my GOAT. This was my childhood right here. Rabbids Invasion was like that, folks. No funny. Remember as a kid, I used to go by my grandma and just bench watch this shit when they come on. No funny shit.
Invasion that most certainly helps my argument will not be talked about, as it is not categorized as a Nicktoon. We love home internet from T-Mobile. The first new Nicktoon of the decade was Planet Sheen, a super unnecessary spin-off to Jimmy Neutron. This spin-off was not well liked, making side characters...
Planet Sheen? I never see... Wait. Hold on. Planet Sheen. Nah, I never heard of this.
The main characters is usually a poor decision unless you're Saul Goodman. Sheen became overly annoying, the plots were too bizarre, in a bad way, and visually, the show wasn't the best thing Nick had to offer. Going back to the humor... It was definitely different. It wasn't like Jimmy Neutron. It was reminiscent of Fanboy and Chum Chum. The ratings gave validity to these claims, and Nickelodeon canceled the show after one season. The next Nicktoon was Tough Puppy. Being that it was created by Butch Hartman, the same guy that did Fairly OddParents and Danny Phantom, it couldn't have been all bad, right? Well, it wasn't, but you could definitely tell the shows were losing soul. I don't know how else to describe it than that. I get that I'm here to articulate my point with words, but... This show feels like you took Fairly OddParents, drained the soul from it, and slapped on a spy theme. The next two shows are Winx Club and The Legend of Korra. They do not fit into the category of terrible. They are the very few diamonds in the rough of this decade. Robot and Monster is the next show, and it just brings more of the same. The show feels very empty.
Wait. Bless me, excuse me. Did I? Nah.
Content-wise and visually. The humor this time isn't so much farting, but beating each other up and name-calling. There's nothing wrong with that humor, as it's probably the most common type of humor. But to have every joke based on it gets boring very fast. The 2012 TMNT
GOAT
is an all-around fine show. It gets the job done. I don't have any strong opinions on it. Sanjay and Craig.
My bro, oh shit. Sanjay and Craig, that shit was goated, bro. Y'all don't know. But I could tell you all the goated shows. Sanjay and Craig, Breadwinners, bro. What else? Those was my goat, bro. You know how long I've been trying to find Breadwinners on any streaming site, bro? I can't.
Are guilty of being one of the worst on the network. I could make the argument that it is worse than Fanboy and Chum Chum.
Worse? To me, some PA is brainwashed as fuck. But I love this show. No funny shit. This was my childhood. I love this show.
It's probably not, but it's very close. It relies only on fart humor. It's like you took the worst quality out of all the popular shows at the time and put it into one.
I don't give no fuck. I'll bench watch this shit again. No funny shit. I will bench watch this shit again.
One to make this show. It is just another show where a human and a non-human best friend duo go on really wacky adventures. Another thing this show has in common with all of the others that come after it is its hyperactivity. Fanboy and Chum Chum had it along with Tough Puppy, but it is right in your face with this show. Surely, this show is as bad as it gets.
Maybe after this video, I might dead ass go bench watch this and Breadwinners.
Nickelodeon really said, let's take Sanjay and Craig and make it 100 times worse. This show is complete brain rot humor, if you can even call it humor. There are no real stories for episodes, just recycled junk you have seen before, annoying characters, so much stuff to do with butts. It is absolutely unreal how this was created, and then continued to be created. Look on the bright side. Breadwinners is the worst this decade gets. Harvey Beaks was a breath of fresh air. And then Pig, Goat, Banana, and Cricket released, and you were right back into the mud. More hyperactive, over-exaggerated animation slop.
I did not like
The Loud House is next, and as it is still...
I fuck with this, but I watch it. But every time, I like this, but every day, this shit pops up. It's
still running to this day, it has proven to be a much better show than the others. Even though I would argue the fart...
Me personally, Breadwinners, Sanjay and Craig, above this. To me,
jokes and hyperactivity is definitely still present. Bunsen is a Beast, the fourth show by Butch Hartman.
Shit. You know, bruh. Nicktoons back then was a shit. You do not know. If you was back then for Nicktoons, that was a shit. And I ain't gonna lie.
Proved that it was more of what this decade has churned out. Yet again, a buddy duo where one is non-human and they go on way too wacky of adventures. Welcome to Wayne. It seems better than most. I can't give any personal anecdote as I've never seen this one. Online, the most common criticism is that it is a Gravity Falls ripoff. 2 days after Welcome to Wayne aired, Fairly Odd Parents was canceled. This now left SpongeBob and... well, nothing else, really. At this point, no show besides SpongeBob had been airing for longer than a year or so, and their cash cow SpongeBob was getting worse and worse. Hang on. Let me talk about that in a second. Let's finish off this decade. There are 4 Nicktoons left of the decade. Only one of them still falls into the hyperactive poop humor category. The other 3 are reboots or
I ain't gonna lie, I never seen this Henry Danger shit. I ain't gonna lie, I like the Teen Mutant Ninja anime thing. That shit was fire. The movie too was fire. That shit was dumb fire.
Spin-offs. This is the exact trend repeating itself. Let me explain. At the end of the 2000s, Fanboy and Chum Chum introduced the poop humor, and it continued all throughout the decade. Now these 3 shows, The Adventures of Kid Danger, Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the Casa Grandes are all spin-offs and reboots. Now look at the 2020s so far. Almost 70% of the shows in the decade thus far are spin-offs, reboots...
I don't like the animation of the SpongeBob thing. If this is really like how it's animated, I'm not gonna go watch that. The Patrick Show... I'm probably not gonna watch that.
And licensed
I'm probably not gonna
shows.
watch this.
It seems as if at the end of the decade they introduce shows that are indicative of what is to come in the following decade.
Yeah, I'm not watching that SpongeBob. I got tired of SpongeBob.
Okay, now the decline of SpongeBob. It's been talked about endlessly. They say it got bad after the first movie. Whatever. I'm not here to dispute anything. I'm here to say at this point SpongeBob was arguably just bad. Look up the worst episodes of SpongeBob. No, I'll do it for you. The consensus is that A Pal for Gary is the worst.
Word? Y'all think that shit fun? Y'all think that shit was the worst? I'll fuck with that.
SpongeBob gets a new pet, and it tries to eat Gary. They literally rewrite SpongeBob to be dumber than usual to make the story work. Another terrible episode is One Course Meal, the episode where Mr. Krabs tortures and abuses Plankton, which is pretty out of character for Mr. Krabs. What's my point with this? These episodes came out in 2010. Most of the worst episodes came out in this decade. So not only were their new shows bad, but their legacy shows were too.
No way they got Donald Duck doing that.
Another point is the oversaturation of live-action shows.
This was the shit. What's the line? The Thundermans? What's that one show called?
29.
Haunted Hathaways. Word, that was the shit. Haunted Hathaways. Oh, what else? Thundermans, Haunted Hathaways, and many other ones I probably can't remember right now. Those was the shit.
9 live-action shows premiered in this decade. But that's not all. There were other shows that didn't premiere in the 2010s, but were still airing new episodes, making the total 30.
Alright, let's see. Ricky, Dicky, and Don. I watched that. I watched iCarly. The Thundermans. I watched the Thundermans. Watching in Danger. I already said, watch that. Don't know the other ones.
3. That's a lot of shows. Some of them aren't that bad. I mean, they're sitcoms with children lead actors. They can't be that good either. But some of them are especially heinous.
Whoa, shit. Never mind.
Fred the Show. I can't fairly talk ill of all these shows because I have close to no knowledge about them. I only watched cartoons growing up, but all you need to do is look at the numbers. 33 shows running in a span of 10 years. It has to get watered down. It has to. I know the animation studio is probably completely separate from the live-action studio, with completely different budgets and everything, but I really wish more effort would have been spent on the cartoon side rather than live-action. You can clearly tell where Nickelodeon's focus went into this decade. And I believe this is a small contributing factor as to why the cartoons were so bad. Why did they cling to this type of humor? What made them think it was successful and funny? I can't tell you that. The only reason I can hypothesize, and it's a stretch, a long stretch, is for shock value.
Because this was so brain rot back then. God damn. Why did I watch this as a kid? I don't know. I personally couldn't tell you. I don't know why I watched this. Do I regret it? Probably not.
YouTube was becoming very successful and popular in the early 2010s, and by the mid-2010s was huge. The network saw this huge shift in viewership, where the kids, instead of watching cartoons, were watching their favorite YouTubers play video games, or vlogging or what have you. Fortnite. I'm guessing maybe this was their attempt to catch people's eyes and be like, look at us. We have this crazy, wacky, over-exaggerated junk. Look, I know that's not a very good reason, but I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel. I can't think of any other reason why any executive in their right mind would approve the poop humor. Not much has changed into the 2020s. The poop humor shows are definitely decreasing in quantity. However, they are just being replaced with reboots, spin-offs, and other licensed IPs. We're definitely in a reboot era right now. Everyone is doing it, and there aren't tons of unique new movies or shows. It only makes sense that Nickelodeon follows suit. Make sure you check out my other videos. I have quite a few about Nickelodeon and other cartoons.
Yeah, I'm gonna check those out.
If you could please subscribe.
Like and comment.
I'm literally...
Comment down below if y'all really want me to watch those.
So close to 1,000 subscribers. And you hitting that button will help me greatly. Thank you for watching.
Alright guys, that's the end of the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me if y'all watch some of these shows in this video, and tell me, was it really the worst era of Nickelodeon? Me personally, there was some good shit in there, like Breadwinners, Sanjay and Craig, Timmy Turner, Jimmy Neutron, Danny Phantom, all that. Comment down below if y'all think this was actually the worst era of Nick, in your personal opinion. But anyways, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.